If a fee hike or benefit cutoff could leave your family short this month, stop and listen now, because a federal law signed on July 4, 2025 is already reshaping immigrant life in 2026, and the changes can hit your mailbox, bank account, health coverage, the money you send home, and the help you rely on every day without warning if you are waiting for a visa right now. Everything in this video is for educational and informational purposes only and is not legal advice. This is real law. It is binding law. Its name is the One Big Beautiful Bill Act. The Senate approved it by one vote, 51 to 50, with the Vice President casting the tie-breaking vote. It passed the House 218 to 214, and the President signed it into law on Independence Day 2025. After 6 years covering immigration policy on this channel, I can say this is the most significant law affecting immigrants that I have ever covered for viewers on this channel so far.
It reaches your fees, your benefits, your taxes, your family petitions, your ability to send money abroad, your access to health care, your children's tax credit eligibility, and even what it costs to appeal a removal order in court. My name is M. Zubair. This is U.S. Visa News Daily. Over the next few minutes, I will walk you through what this law does, who it affects, what has already changed, what comes next, and most importantly, what you should do now to protect yourself and your family as best you can today, right now. And I want to be clear from the start. This video is for educational and informational purposes only. It is not legal advice. Immigration policy is changing quickly, and the details I share are verified as of today, but things can shift. So please always confirm with official sources like USCIS, the Department of State, or the IRS, and consult a qualified immigration attorney for your specific situation. Now, let us get into it together. Now, let me start with the big picture because I want you to understand the scale of what happened. The One Big Beautiful Bill Act, also known as H.R. 1, is a reconciliation bill, which means it was passed through a special process that only requires a simple majority in the Senate rather than the usual 60 votes. The American Immigration Council, which is one of the most respected nonpartisan immigration research organizations in this country, published a detailed analysis showing that this law provides $170.7 billion in additional funding for immigration and border enforcement. Let me say that number again, $170 billion. To put that in perspective, the Federal Bureau of Prisons budget for fiscal year 2025 was about $8.66 billion total. This single law provides roughly 20 times that amount for immigration enforcement alone. The funding runs through fiscal year 2029 and covers border wall construction, detention facility expansion, hiring of new border patrol and federal enforcement agents, removal operations, state grants for immigration enforcement, and military support at the border overall. The Brennan Center for Justice described it as creating a, quote, removal industrial complex, unquote. Now, that is the enforcement side. But the part that is affecting everyday immigrants right now, the part that is landing in your mailbox and your bank account and your healthcare coverage this very month, is the fee increases, the benefit cuts, and the new taxes. Let me begin with the fees, because everyone moving through the immigration system needs to understand this right away before they file anything. The bill sharply raised the cost of nearly every immigration filing for applicants now. If you are applying for a family-based green card inside the United States, the USCIS fee now stands at $3.05. USCIS confirms that amount directly on its official page there. If you are filing from outside the country, the fee is $1,840. Asylum applicants now face a mandatory $100 filing fee for the first time ever in U.S. history. On top of that, there is an added $100 charge for every year the application stays pending after filing. And no fee waiver is available for either charge at this point. Pause and think about that. Right now, immigration court backlogs stretch for years. An asylum applicant waiting 5 years for a ruling, which is not unusual, would owe at least $500 in pending charges, plus the original filing fee and work permit fees each year. Speaking of work permits, the initial employment authorization fee for asylum applicants, parolees, and TPS holders is now $550, up from $0 for asylum-based applicants and $470 for everyone else. Renewal work permits now cost $275, and the law caps their validity at 1 year, so you must renew and pay again every 12 months thereafter. Temporary protected status registration fees jumped from $50 to $500 with no fee waiver allowed. The cost to appeal an immigration judge's ruling rose from $110 to $900. A motion to reopen a case rose from $110 or $145 to $900, and for anyone ordered removed in absentia, meaning the judge ordered your removal because you missed a court hearing, there is now a $5,000 fee on top of everything else. The Catholic Legal Immigration Network, known as Clinic, published a detailed breakdown of all these fees and called the system pay-to-play, saying it effectively shuts legal paths out for thousands of people right now, too. But there is another new fee affecting nearly everyone coming to the United States on any kind of non-immigrant visa today. It is called the Visa Integrity Fee. Beginning October 1st, 2025, every person issued a non-immigrant visa, whether student, tourist, work, or another category, must pay the mandatory $250 visa integrity fee by law before authorities issue it officially. CNBC covered this in detail. The fee is technically refundable, but only if after your visa expires, you can prove you followed every condition of the visa and never tried to extend your stay at all afterward. KPMG confirmed the details in a global mobility flash notice. There is also a new $24 I-94 application fee now. These fees add up fast, especially for families and people from countries where those amounts equal months of income yearly. Now, USCIS also announced that effective January 1st, 2026, many HR-1 fees got another inflation adjustment on top of the base amounts as written today. And then effective March 1st, 2026, premium processing fees rose again. So the costs are not just high, they keep climbing. I strongly urge every viewer to check the USCIS website directly, especially the alert section for the most current fee schedule, because the numbers I am sharing today could rise again very soon. Now, let me turn to the part of this law already hurting immigrant families. The changes to public benefits today for many households nationwide. Before this law, immigrants with legal statuses like refugees, asylees, TPS holders, trafficking survivors, and VAWA self-petitioners could use programs such as Medicaid, CHIP, SNAP food assistance, and in some cases, Medicare and Affordable Care Act premium tax credits in many communities across the country each month too. The bill stripped away most of those categories immediately, too. The National Immigration Law Center, known as NILC, published a comprehensive analysis confirming that under this law, only 3 categories of non-citizens remain eligible for Medicaid, CHIP, SNAP, Medicare, and ACA premium tax credits. Those 3 categories are lawful permanent residents, meaning green card holders, certain Cuban and Haitian nationals treated as entrants under current law, and people from Palau, Micronesia, and the Marshall Islands under the Compact of Free Association. Everyone else, including refugees, asylees, TPS holders, trafficking survivors with T visas, and domestic violence survivors with VAWA protections, has been or will be cut off. The timing matters because different programs are being cut at different times. SNAP eligibility changes took effect immediately when the law was signed in July 2025. The USDA Food and Nutrition Service has already issued implementation guidance. If you had SNAP benefits and you are not a green card holder or in one of those other 2 narrow categories, your benefits may already have ended, or you may receive a notice soon instead. Medicaid and CHIP changes take effect on October 1st, 2026, which is less than 6 months away from now. NILC confirmed that starting that date, refugees, asylees, TPS holders, and many other lawfully present immigrants will lose Medicaid coverage completely. Medicare changes took effect immediately when the law was signed, but people already enrolled as of July 4, 2025 have an 18-month grace period, so their coverage can continue until roughly January 2027. NPR published a heartbreaking story in April 2026 about a 67-year-old woman named Rosa Maria Carranza, who has TPS status and has paid into Medicare for years through payroll taxes. But under this law, her coverage will end because TPS holders are no longer eligible. The NPR report noted that about 100,000 lawfully present immigrants could be removed from Medicare. And then come the tax changes now. The law created a 1% excise tax on remittance transfers, meaning money sent from the United States to a recipient in a foreign country. This took effect on January 1, 2026. The IRS confirmed this online and issued proposed regulations for the rule. If you send money home to family through any remittance transfer provider, 1% of the amount is now taxed. The tax applies unless the transfer is funded by a United States citizen using their own bank account. That means if you are a green card holder, a visa holder, or anyone who is not a citizen, you are likely paying this tax on every dollar you send abroad. 1% may not sound like much, but when you send $500 or $1,000 every month, it adds up over a year pretty fast. For millions of immigrants who support families overseas, this is a direct new cost that did not exist before this year. The original House proposal was 5% initially. It was negotiated down to 1% in the Senate version. But as RSM, one of the largest audit and tax consulting firms in the country, explained in its tax alert, this is a brand new excise tax category that has never appeared before in American tax law, and it specifically targets non-citizens by design. The law also limits who can claim several major tax benefits. The $6,000 enhanced senior deduction I mentioned on this channel, the one for people 65 and older, is only available to taxpayers with a Social Security number valid for work in the United States today. If you file taxes using an individual taxpayer identification number, known as an ITIN, you cannot claim it. The same restriction applies to the new deductions for tip income and overtime income. It also covers the American Opportunity, Lifetime Learning, and the Child Tax Credit too. NILC estimates that about 2.6 million children in the United States will lose access to the Child Tax Credit because no parent on their tax return has a qualifying Social Security number, even though those families pay taxes still. Now, I need to talk about the 75-country immigrant visa pause because it connects directly to the same policy direction already unfolding under current rules today. On January 14, 2026, the State Department announced an indefinite pause on immigrant visa issuance for nationals of 75 countries, citing public charge concerns. This is separate from Proclamation 10998, the 39-country travel ban that took effect January 1, 2026, on national security grounds alone at present. Both are active simultaneously. The 75-country list includes nations across Africa, Asia, the Caribbean, Eastern Europe, and Latin America, from Afghanistan and Albania all the way to Uruguay, Uzbekistan, and Yemen too. The State Department's own website confirms that interviews are still being scheduled and conducted at embassies and consulates, but final visa issuance is frozen today. The Clinic versus Federal Authorities lawsuit filed February 2, 2026, in the Southern District of New York is a major challenge. The case argues the pause is an unlawful nationality-based ban. As of today, the case remains active, but no broad injunction has been issued. On top of all this, the Visa Bond Program has expanded to 50 countries as of April 2, 2026. Reuters reported that 12 additional countries were added in March, and now nationals of those 50 countries applying for B1 or B2 visitor visas may have to post a bond of up to $15,000 up front. The State Department says this is to reduce overstay rates, but for many applicants, it creates a huge financial barrier. There is also expanded social media screening that took effect March 30, 2026, too. The State Department confirmed that online presence reviews now apply to additional non-immigrant visa categories, including K-1 fiancé visas, R-1 religious worker visas, T visas for trafficking victims, and U visas for crime victims. Boundless Immigration News Service reported on this expansion in detail. And I have to mention temporary protected status because the Supreme Court is scheduled to hear oral arguments on April 29, 2026, in cases involving TPS for Haiti and Syria. SCOTUS blog reported that this case could affect TPS for all 17 currently designated countries, potentially impacting 1.3 million people across the country. The ACLU confirmed the scope of the case in a recent release, too. If you have TPS, this is a moment to pay very close attention and make sure you have legal counsel. The DHS Biometric Entry and Exit Program also expanded through a final rule, effective December 26, 2025. CBP is now authorized to collect facial biometrics from non-citizens at airports, land ports, seaports, and other authorized entry and departure locations, too. The New York Times covered the quiet expansion of this program across U.S. airports and raised privacy concerns. The Federal Register published the full rule in October 2025. So, who is affected right now? Honestly, the answer is almost everyone in the immigration system. If you are applying for any immigration benefit, your fees have climbed substantially already. If you are a refugee, asylee, TPS holder, or parolee, your access to Medicaid, SNAP, and other benefits is being cut or will be cut in coming months. If you send money to family abroad, you are now paying a 1% remittance tax. If you file taxes with an ITIN, you have lost access to several important deductions and credits. If you are from one of the 75 countries, your immigrant visa processing is frozen indefinitely. If you are applying for a visitor visa from one of 50 countries, you may need to post a $15,000 bond. If you have TPS, the Supreme Court is about to decide the future of the program very soon. And if you enter the country on any non-immigrant visa, you are paying a new $250 visa integrity fee. Here is what I need you to do immediately now. First, check your immigration status and understand exactly which provisions of this law apply to you. The USCIS website has a dedicated page for HR1 fee updates. The NILC has published some of the most detailed analyses available. Second, if you receive Medicaid, CHIP, or SNAP benefits and you are not a green card holder, contact your state benefits office right away to confirm your eligibility because changes are either already in effect or coming on October 1, 2026. Third, if you send money abroad, check with your remittance provider about the 1% excise tax and include it in your budget. Fourth, if you are filing taxes, make sure your tax preparer understands the ITN restrictions on the senior deduction, the tip and overtime deductions, and the child tax credit. Fifth, if you have a pending immigration case of any kind, review the new fee schedule with your attorney because costs have changed and fee waivers have been eliminated for many categories. Sixth, if you have TPS, follow the Supreme Court case closely and have a backup plan ready depending on the outcome. Seventh, do not depend on social media or word of mouth for immigration updates right now. Things are moving too fast, and there is too much misinformation. Go straight to uscis.gov, travel.state.gov, and the IRS newsroom for official guidance. I want to speak directly to every person watching this who feels overwhelmed or frightened right now today. I understand these changes are huge and they are coming from every direction at once. But I also want you to know that lawsuits are being fought hard, Advocacy groups are working around the clock too. There are immigration attorneys who specialize in exactly these cases. And most importantly, there is a community here on this channel that is staying informed and prepared together. Knowledge is your best protection right now. The more you understand what is happening, the better you can plan, the better you can protect your family, and the better positioned you are to use every legal option available to you and your family. Before I go, let me give you my standard reminder. Everything I have shared in this video is based on official government sources, including USCIS, the Department of State, the IRS, the Department of Homeland Security, and Customs and Border Protection, as well as reporting from Reuters, NPR, CNBC, The New York Times, The Wall Street Journal, the Brennan Center for Justice, the American Immigration Council, the National Immigration Law Center, and SKYROCKETED blog, all verified as of today. Immigration law is complex, and it is changing rapidly. This video is educational content, not legal advice. Your situation is unique, and you should always consult a qualified immigration attorney before making decisions about your case. If this video helped you understand what is happening, please like, comment, and subscribe right now. It costs you nothing, but it helps this video reach thousands of other families who need this information. Turn on notifications so you never miss any critical update going forward. Share this video with someone you care about. Share it in your family group chat. Share it at your mosque or your church or your temple or your community center, because every person who understands their rights is better able to protect themselves too. Check the description below for a full summary, official resources, and a link to our free WhatsApp community where I share real-time updates as they happen. My name is M. Zubair. This is US Visa News Daily. Take care of yourself. Take care of your family. Know your rights.